And Mark Shanahan is Associate Professor of Political Engagement at the University of Surrey. Jamie Owen asked him which of the charges Trump is reportedly facing is likely to be the most serious.
Probably the charges that he'll face today are the least of his troubles, despite the fact that we are hearing that it could be 30 felony charges. It's unlikely that even if he was found guilty of these charges, that he'd serve any time in jail. But there are other investigations that are swirling around, that are coming to a head, where clearly the prosecutors want to see what happens in Manhattan today as to whether they will press the button and go ahead with their own charges. For instance, around the January 6th insurrection, around taking government documents, presidential documents, and holding on to them at Mar-a-Lago. And perhaps the one that he would fear most is down in Fulton County, down in Atlanta in Georgia, where there is a move to try and indict him on interfering with the election back in 2020. If he was indicted and found guilty on that, he would serve serious jail time. And I mean, whatever happens today, it's a humiliation for the president. He may well try and turn it into some kind of martyrdom, but this is unprecedented. Nothing like this has ever happened before.
Just for the sake of clarity, I mean, regardless of the charges and how many or how few, he still will be able to run for president, will he not?
Absolutely. There is nothing in the Constitution that would stop him running for president. He could even be found guilty and go to jail and still be running for president. He could even be elected while in jail, and then perhaps maybe he'd pardon himself, although that's far easier said than done. This is not something that the framers of the Constitution ever thought about. The presidency was supposedly for the greatest and the best of American citizens, but perhaps that's not the case in the 21st century.
Mark, you would have thought Joe Biden's supporters would be rubbing their hands in delight at all of this, but of course this means blanket Donald Trump on the American networks, which during this incredibly long election campaign that we see in the United States is perhaps ironically bad news for Joe Biden and his campaign.
Absolutely. In 2016, Donald Trump got elected to the American presidency by making himself the story. Every day he would go out with some kind of a tweet that would make him the story, and the rest of the political field and all of the media would react. This, weirdly, gives him a huge platform to be the story again. And it's going to be very, very difficult for any other politician to get any oxygen of publicity while this case, however it turns out, meanders its way through to the court.